So today I'm going to play around with an abstract. I'm going to actually use my gel plate to just, in lieu of gesso, just do a color, or not a color, some texture on a piece of paper, but I want it to be white texture. So I'm going to start with this fabulous it's from P&M Artist Studio. I really like it. And it's just it's called Aqueous Effervescence something or another, broken. And I'm going to then end up throwing in some more little stencils that I'm hoping are going to end up giving me some random things. And I got that stencil. What else? I'm gonna stamp it a few places. All I'm trying to do here is end up with some texture. So, because I want texture on the back, kind of on the back of my plate. Okay, so there's a lot of texture on that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a piece of crystal board. This is my thought. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to take a piece of bristol board. I'm going to take this little thing I have here, okay, which I'm really seriously considering buying one of the, is that fairly even? I'm trying to keep these fairly even in there, in my registration here, because I'm going to want to have to do that. Now I'm going to lay this there. That doesn't quite do it for me, does it? Because this paper has to go closer. So, but if I put this all the way up here, which is also a possibility. Okay, 8 by 10, 11 by 14. Okay, and this is an 11 by 14, right? This, and I'm fairly certain my thing is 11 by 14. So if I take this down and put this in, it should be reasonably close. Reasonably close. Let me see how that works. If it did work. We'll see. I always am exploring things. Okay, now I want this to really do a fairly good job here of pulling up. This is my first layer. My second layer I probably will end up doing in a darker color and possibly a black. Okay, so I have my first layer here. Oh, look at all these interesting things it's still pulled off. Now, what I see is I needed to be a little better with my registration. But I will fix that next time. This one I'm just going to have to go with my imperfect registration. But liking that. Now the next one, so now I'm going to put it to dry. Got my little in here. And the next thing that I want to do is I want to put some more colors in, but I want to do it with a black. So I'm going to take, and I think that one of the things I'm going to do is I'm going to actually try to do a bit of an image transfer with the black. I'm thinking. I don't know. Let me just put some black on here. Do I really want an image transfer, or do I just want some nice So if I do an image transfer, which if I want to do one, I want to do one that actually, I hate to say it, doesn't, perfect. I don't think I want to do an total image transfer. I may end up doing something like making some marks in this. I may end up pulling off some edges around here, making them in some ways. How do I want to do this? I want a smaller thing. I don't want everywhere to be I don't know how that's working. It is pulling up a little bit of the stuff, but I really want the stuff pulled up in the corners, I think. A little bit here, a little bit here. Let's get some different size up there, and maybe across the top here. And let's put some down. Down there, so put a little more in this area and just see what happens if I just put a little more down in here. Again, I'm trying to, it's carbon black. I'm just kind of making my way here, and I'm going to put this right back here. Trying to get it registered again. And I'm going to put this down. So what I'm trying to do is get a background started with some really fabulous colors or fabulous texture and stuff. Now I'm going to continue to let this is going to take a little longer to dry. There we go. Okay, so now you can see everything I'm doing, and I'm pulling it off. Now, as I said, because this is a second layer, it's going to take a little longer for it to dry. I have recently become really impressed with the ability of gel plates to help me build and develop paintings, because I really love the abstract, and sometimes the extra step of pulling a print to me adds a little bit of chaos. Betty Franks talks about chaos a lot, but it does. It adds a little bit of chaos to the process. So I like that. Let's see how this is pulling up. Well, it's not pulling up perfectly, but it's doing some really interesting things. It's got a lot of texture, a lot of stuff happening. Okay, so I'm pulling this, and we're going to see what happens and see what kind of print it ends up pulling. And I like the texture. I like what I've got happening in here. I like a lot of it. So I'm going to set it aside, and I'm going to think of what I want to do for the next layer. And I think I'm going to do a warm layer next, and I still want to end up with lots of stuff. I like the white and the black together, but I want to end up with some color. Now, I also probably will clean off this plate, because I don't want to muddy this color that I'm putting on. And I'm going to use mostly on this layer warm, transparent, or semi-transparent colors. This is yellow. This is primary yellow, which is semi-transparent. is light yellow. I'm going to use this light yellow, and I'm going to put it in a couple places. And I'm going to use the infamous quinacridone gold because I love it. I'm also going to put it in, this is nickel anzo gold. It's just a beautiful color. I want to put it in a few places. I want to use some of the quinacridone magenta. And at this point, I am not doing much other than putting things in kind of squares or areas. And as I said, this process, this particular one, is going to use semi-transparent or transparent colors. Like, I love this red, this pyrrole red, and it's translucent, so I'm going to, I think, use a little bit of that. Let's see how that goes if I put some here, here. Oh, and I got a little black in that red. Oh, well. I'll have to do something about that. Okay, and so now I'm going to take this my brayer here, and I'm just going to start braying in some of these colors, but then I'm going to bray over. So it's like I'm going to use this to just do some interesting and fun, warm, fun colors. Now, I also want to, as I said, this is transparent or semi-transparent, but I also want to get some texture in there too. So I might actually pull off some of this with a nice sheet of the tissue paper, which is too small here. And get a bigger tissue paper sheet. A lot of times my off sheets look better than what I'm actually doing, because I've got this on a little thick. So here I am working on pulling this off, working in and getting some of this, everything here. I'm going to pull that off, and I've got some really pretty color happening there. So I'm going to actually pull this off. I'm liking this. I'm going to see what happens if I just add this layer of color here to my already done print. And again, it's going to take longer for it to dry. I have to figure out this registration system, and I'm thinking it is going to be somehow involved about being on these plates. These plates are, I think, 12 by, maybe they're 11 by 14 now, because this piece of paper is 11 by 14, so maybe it's 12 by 14, but this metal plate here, the one I'm using, is 8 by 10. So the problem is when you get to the larger registration systems, they really don't work well. The tinier ones work better, but the tinier ones are perfectly, I can line them up myself. It's not as difficult. So I don't really super worry about the 5 by 7s and the smaller ones, because I can do that with my marks on the side. And I guess I could do it if I want it here, but I'm not quite as... Ooh. So here I've got some really fabulous texture and marks. That's really fun. Now, I'm going to set this aside for a moment and kind of start thinking. And I've got to let it dry, because you really do have to dry this between your layers. Okay, now this time I am going to use some less transparent colors in the blues. And I'm going to use the stencils a little differently. What you're going to see me do is you're going to see me pull some patterns out, but not really do a lot of necessarily the same color. And put some interest in here in a different way, maybe. So like here, I might want to put this down, and I want to get another piece of paper of some sort to pull some of this up, because really all I want is the purple lines. We'll see how that works. Pull up the purple lines. I really want to have a little more clarity of color in there, but we'll see how that works. I was thinking that I wanted these to be a little cleaner, like they were, have some color come through it. And I also want to do this quickly because I just want to put one more coat on things. And as I said, this is my cooler, my cooler color scheme here. So, and some of these I may just want to have fun with. I don't know, so I'm not quite sure what I'm doing, but I always am not quite sure of what I'm doing. Because for me, 90% of this work is exploration. So if I explore and I put stuff down and I just have fun with color and with shapes, and I'm just picking my shapes here, that's fine. I really want to put more of that purple somewhere else, so I have to figure out what I'm going to do with some more of that purple. And let's see how I'm going to maybe put a tiny bit more purple in this corner. And I can tell you I've got this really thick, so it's probably not going to do exactly what I want it to do, but I'll also do my I can take this thickness out trick a little later. We'll see. I mean, we'll see. I like to put layers on top of layers. I like this. I'm going to probably end up, I need a kind of a darker blue. And what happens if I put some of this in just to put it in and just kind of give it some, this is a very fluid blue, so I like what happens with this very fluid blue, and I'm just playing. You know, playing is good. When you don't know what's happening, playing is really good because it just gives you a little more whatever. Now, I think this is a little wet, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this thing and I'm just going to take some of it off. So I'm not planning on taking everything off. I just want to take some of that chaos off. And then when I put this down, oh no, I messed up my corner. Did not mean to do that. So hopefully this will register right. I had it up like here, I had it like here. Gotta figure out this registration. This is looking good. It's looking a little high. I think I had it up here higher. Like that. I think I had it trying to be right there. We'll see. So we'll try it. If it doesn't register, it doesn't register. I think I figured out the registration, but I really have to, I'll try it my next one. This one isn't totally all one thing. Ooh, but I'm liking it. Okay. So there are so many different ways of making marks. You know, as you see with my use of stencils, I like the mark that the stencil makes, and I like to have control of the mark, but I don't usually use the entire stencil. It's something that is not really in me. So what you'll see, I'm going to show you this little thing. So you see I have a lot of different marks happening, but they're not, you know, it's not as if I put a stencil down and did the stencil. I can recognize some of the marks as coming from one of my stencils, but they're also marks that I was trying, you know, kind of to get myself, if that makes any sense. So I like the randomness of the marks. I like repeating the marks. So stenciling is a way to do that, and I'm really liking this so far. And you know, I could probably, once this dries, also make something out of that. It's pretty high key. It does not have a lot of the black on it, so it didn't get dark. But this I'm going to keep on working on. Now, because I took a lot of the paint off, this isn't going to particularly take a super long time to dry. If I had left it, had the thick paint that I pulled off on the transfer sheet, it would have been too much. But you can see from here, most of this is coming up. I'm going to give it a little more time. I'm missing a couple of the turquoises. Give it a few more minutes. But yeah, I do like the idea of using a gel plate to paint with, as part of, like, you have your brushes and you have your fingers and you have your paints, but I like the fact that if I use the gel plate, I'm going to get some really interesting things happening. And I really like that. I super, super, super like that. That's a little thick there and there, but I don't, you know, I'm liking this. It's very dark, and it's probably close to the point that I'm no longer going to use the gel plate for it. Because what I'm going to want to do is to pick out make some more marks, pick out some things, get a rhythm, and get some quiet spaces going. I need some quiet spaces going. So I'm going to stop, and I'm going to start thinking of what's my next route. Okay, so now I'm going to do another layer on this, but as I said earlier, I think this time I'm going to do it with with just painting it. And so the first thing I want to do is actually, I think I want to bring some more bright colors in here. So I am going to grab some red here. I've got some Pyro red here. And I just want to make some marks. Just want to kind of add some some texture, add some marks in here, uh, get some color going, whatever. I like a little bit of some pure color in here. These I'm somewhat thinking, I'm not sure whether they're tulips or what, but I'm just going to kind of bring them not quite all the way across. Okay, and then I'm going to take that and I'm going to bring that in a few other areas. But how I want to bring it, I'm not sure. I'm going to stop that whine. That was pretty annoying. So I've got these sizes, and possibly let's do a box shape here, and let's do a boxy shape here, and let me do, instead of another box, let me do some kind of a round shape. And I think I want to go around there. So I've got those three colors down. And now I want to put some more. Let me see what happens if I end up with some just little tiny dots in places. I'm going to get this, whatever this orange is. I like this orange. And I may take some of this orange and actually put some of the yellow in it. Give me another color. And knock it back just a tiny bit with purpley color maybe, just so it's not quite so bright. So let me get some of that. Now I want to brighten it up now. I lied. Let's brighten it up just a little bit more. So let me make some more shapes here. So I like patterns. I like flowers. I like forests, and sometimes I love the thought of trees coming up through things, and then the light between the trees. So I'm thinking maybe a few tree shapes coming up in this color. Thinking that might work. And I am going to get some more of a color and see about it. I got three of these shapes happening like this, but I need some smaller shapes somewhere. Maybe I want to come down here and come up almost all the way down to the bottom. So this is just beginning, and I'm not really thinking super about how I'm making these marks. These are just making some marks and letting them just speak for themselves. Okay, I like that over there. I think I'm going to put some more of that in another area. And I'm almost thinking palm trees more than a flower here. We'll see. I'm just putting some clear color in, and I'm going to put some more fun color in places. And I also love the look of the dappled colors in a forest. So I'm kind of got a little bit of that happening, I think, but most of what I'm going to eventually do is I think this is going to be a much cooler painting. But let me put some more smaller circles, because we can always put circles in places. I want a small circle there. Let's put a smaller circle up there. Let's come way down here and throw a small circle in. Okay, so now I'm getting some more colors and patterns happening. I might want to take a little bit of this kind of deep, there's a deep color here. It's almost like a magenta, but I'm mixing it a little bit with the orange and seeing what I get. And I want some smaller shapes, but not sure. I'm not sure what's going on down here, but maybe I want another row of something down here that's coming in another way. Let it move in some ways. I'm liking that color, and I might just put a little bit of a different color up on some of this red up here. Not real fond of this yellow being the way it is, so let's just go back and get some of that. And at some point I might want to just start getting some lighter colors in here too. So what happens if my circles become much lighter? We're not sure, but right now I made some lighter circles. And maybe I want to knock down some more of that orange. And also maybe some fine lines in the, traveling through. I do like some fine lines, and we could do them in color, and we could do them with other things. Now, I'm liking this, I'm liking that. I'm kind of liking, I want a little more, some things here. I want some smaller circles around, maybe even letting them become, this blue's like way too much. I don't know what this is, but it just is. As one of the things that happens as we do this, I think, is we start overlaying color, lots of different colors, and that begins to kind of let things become. I don't know how they're going to become, but let's just see some action here. And maybe there's some like dots coming through. We don't know. We don't know what it's about. And maybe there's some, I've already got some thin lines, and let me look about doing some lines that are actually coming through and maybe up and in here. Not perfect, but let's see what happens if I get another one back up there. Don't know what they are, but I'm thinking tropical, I'm thinking light, I'm thinking jungle. So I'm thinking I also am going to need to get more light in places. But I'm not quite sure where that light's going to be. Let me just play a little here. So far that's not really making me sing in any way, but who knows. Maybe it needs more light. Let's see. So looking at it there, it's way too light, but we will see. It's not done yet. It's just kind of becoming at this point. Not even sure of what it is becoming. Okay, well, I'm sort of happy with that. I still think I need more small marks, maybe in something like a pink, but I gotta clean this out a bit before I can get this to really be a pretty pink. So let's just go with some little pink marks somewhere. Let's go with some really little pink marks just coming up through here. Don't know what they are. Not worried about it. I like the more pinky kind of coral. Maybe I want to also make some lines coming down and working in there, and maybe I want something a little different. Maybe I just want these to be more coral too. I like the coral a lot better than the red for, maybe liking that. I still like the red for this, but I really do like the coral. And do I want to put a little bit more dark in here and even darken these up a little bit? Don't think I like them that white. Give them a little more. So for right now, I'm not quite sure. Trying to get this to really give me enough light that you can see the colors. Okay, so when the focus is down here, it's a little brighter than I want, but that's okay. But I've got some really beautiful colors going here. I still think I do need a little more in the way of some whether it's dots or whatever, but I'm just going to end up with a little more. I like that going in that direction, not really. I really wanted that to be more. And the taking things off once I put them back on. I'm just going to take some off, but I like that green that's happened in there, so I'm going to let it be. Actually, I do like that kind of green. Well, now it's turning too red. Okay, I'm going to go back to listening to my castle and just do this. Okay, so now I am going to be working on the cooler colors. So as you can see, I'm mixing up some of the light green, and I'm working in this corner. And I am working at giving some restful spaces, giving some nice little colors, working around colors. I'll use the greens and the blues, the cooler colors, to just kind of to work a little bit toward getting you, I don't know, more patterns, more rest areas, filling in some spaces. You'll notice that I'll leave really tiny chunks in places, and I just keep on working back and forth and back and forth with all the colors and lightening them up a bit and just working around. This is a very, very intuitive process. I just kind of keep on playing. You know, I'm finding my way, I'm feeling my way through the process, and I'm leaving some of the shapes and I'm enhancing other shapes, and then sometimes I'm even making new shapes. So I'm liking the lighter colors that I'm using now. It had gotten fairly dark, so I'm really liking some of these colors. I'm doing some turquoise now. Uh, Again, kind of working around things. And I keep on, everything changes. I think, I don't remember what artist was saying that every stroke, every mark really leads to the next marks. You know, I'm putting some finer right now. I'm using a rigger, which is allowing me to put some finer marks in. And I was thinking of a palm tree there, and I'm not quite sure what it really is, but I'm making some finer marks and I'm working my way through the painting. Um, this is a very, very meditative process for me. I think I put on some music and something that just distracted me from overthinking, which is why you can't hear me really talking. Of course, I know I was going to speed this up anyway, but
you don't need to hear the music. Unfortunately, a lot of times the music is against some copyright rules. So if I'm listening to music in here, I can't share it with you folks. But um, anyway, I sometimes I really love using my wet, wet wipes, or I think I forget what they're called, baby wipes. And here, more color, more marks. I want, here I'm just putting in some thinner marks and pulling out some of the color from underneath. Again, I'm going with some more circles, more finer lines, and I just keep on working through it. Um, Not really, my whole idea here was I was thinking very tropical. I was thinking a little bit in some flowers, but I was also thinking palm trees and different shapes, and a little bit of sailing somewhere. There's a few little sailboat images in there, and just finding my way through and letting the marks just become, focusing on different areas, putting dots and dashes, all sorts of little things, trying to get it, the whole um, the whole painting feeling like it's cohesive. I don't want to have any one place dominate. I do want you to be able to go around the painting. I do want it to be very abstract. I'm not trying to make anything look like it's anything in particular. I am just finding my way through and using these lighter and sometimes even brighter colors to find my way through. Um, Making more marks, more circles. I always like circles. And thinking what's next. So I'm going to look at it again, and here I am making some more colors. I actually made a mess of my brush there, and I'm going to get another color in here, and I want to get some lighter blue. This was actually almost a periwinkle color, and I decided that I wanted to go with a slightly lighter blue. This is where I started thinking of ocean and boats and things down in this corner. And you see me picking it up a lot of times because I have a little bit of glare on it, and I don't like the glare. And finding my way through the whole painting. And you also see that if I'm taking one color and putting it somewhere, especially if I've added it to something, this is a whole new color palette, or a whole new color. So what you'll see is I've put it in a lot of different places in the piece itself, and working my way around, working my way. So I have a little bit of that color just about everywhere, and I'm lightening up things and playing. Again, I'm scraping through some of these colors that I put out there, and I'm thinking a little bit about this shape up at the top, and I wasn't really 100% fond of it, but then I came through and did a little more calligraphy around things, and I liked it much better. And kind of get that side straight, play, play, play. I'm starting to really like it. This bottom corner is looking a little dark on me, So I'm working again with, that is one of my favorite tools, which is the rigger, because I can make very fine lines, or I can use the side of it and get a few what I would control, actually say is almost out of control lines. Now I went for a bigger brush in there because I was going to fill in a little more, and there I'm going again and filling in some more shapes. I can't even really say exactly what is in my head because, as I said, I'm listening to music or listening to something. I'm not sure what it was, but I am just deliberately doing that so I'm not overthinking things. Um, when I don't want to end up, kind of in my head all of the time. I'm liking a lot of the shapes that are coming out here. I'm liking the rhythm of the reds, and again, I'm making more scratches, pulling stuff through. I don't know what those are, little white things up there. I love the little paths I make through places. Not, I'm really good at not knowing what I'm doing, but I'm just feeling my way through the whole piece. So we will see. We will see how the whole thing comes out. In the very end, I think I've slowed it down and I'm going to talk a little bit in the very end, but this area I'm still doing this very intuitive painting process. Working with the lighter blues, working with a little bit of those greens. Making little dots. I'm getting toward the end of where I am doing the not thinking kind of painting, where I just go to the next place, go to the next stop, wherever it's going to be in the painting. And I'm starting to get to that point where I'm going to slow down and think a little more about what I'm doing. I think I'm just about there. Cleaning off my brush and probably just about to stop and slow down. So now I'm in my final thinking stages here, and I am looking at the painting and trying to figure out what else it needs. I'm cleaning off my brushes, and I've decided that I need to highlight a little more of some of the reds. And so again, I've got my, I think this is the rigger again, and I am working with some of my colors and just in putting another layer on things. I put a layer of orange on that. I'm going to put a little bit more of some layers on those flower look. I'm still thinking of that palm tree up there. I'm kind of enhancing it a little bit. And I'm just working on my colors and some of my shapes, and going through and making much smaller marks and much smaller definitions. I just put a whole new set of circles in there and putting some little tiny dotty things in there. I had the white dots and I think I changed it. Changed the color of these red lines coming down thinking of them more like posts, bringing them across a little more, not all the way across to all of the sides, bringing it down, making kind of a little rhythm of them, um, highlighting what I think of as the tree there, but then I'm putting some texture in it with that little stick, and I just am going around and around and around, doing my final things before I do my final marks. Thanks.
Now I'm going to, I think this is just about done. I'm liking a lot. There's big pieces, there's little pieces. I need littler pieces somewhere, but I think I'm going to get some of them with some making more marks. And, I'm not quite sure exactly what more marks I'm going to make. I might, so here I'm just putting some more circles in. I love circles. I really do. And, I don't know if I like that, so I'm going to get it off. I also love dots, and I love lines. So I might just, end up putting some dots in here with a blue, because I love dots. I really do love dots. I love dots everywhere. And I love kind of just making some marks. I love dark marks too. Let's see if I want to do anything with this dark pencil. This is a black, and in some ways I've got this idea that this is my part of a palm tree. Don't know why, but in my mind I've got some palm trees running up here. And so I'm just kind of putting some stuff through here, whatever it is. And it doesn't have to be in any way, I just want shapes, and I want to just make somehow this reminds me of the tropics, and they have these, and there's lots of portholes and round windows, and there's some sailboats here and there, and there are lots of shelves of things. I like the shelf look. I like some dark stuff happening, and and sometimes I just like to think of stuff like this, like either ships or islands, or I'm not quite sure what they are, but I'm just kind of playing here, just putting a little more scratchy whatevers in my pieces here. And I love, I don't know why, I really like that shape. And I keep on liking that shape in so many ways, and I don't know what it is, but it's just, that's one of my shapes, is the box within the box when I get boxes. So like this reminds me of a window here, and and I may even make it a window here, and I may end up just kind of saying, okay, well, that's what it reminded me of, so let's just play a little bit with that idea. And this too reminds me of a door of some kind, so I've got a door here, and let's put another door here next to the windows there. And I like these flowers. I love like some bougainvillea, and I love all of the different fruits and vegetables that are in the Caribbean, and I love a lot about the Caribbean. I also do love islands, and I don't know what I'm doing. but I am having fun with my painting here. And I may end up with some lighter colors later, but like I got this here, and I've got this here, and I've got this here, and I'm not quite sure what these are. And this one, I think I'm going to highlight the the red. Why not? I like that. I'm going to, this one I've got this lovely donut-y thing here. Let me work with that a little. And again, I've got that there. And I'm liking some of what I'm doing. It's just giving me a little more something. These I'm just going to go with my squares. I don't know what my squares are, but I really like them, so I'm just doing them. And they just kind of remind me of doors, remind me of the tropics, remind me of the roads, remind me of going up the mountain, remind me of the palm trees, remind me of so many things. There's bougainvillea everywhere, there's lots of pink, and there's lots of different colors, and it just is. I'm not sure down here, you know, I really am not quite sure what I want to do in that place, but I really like my palm fronds or whatever they are up there, and I really like just stuff. Is that, you know, what is it? What are these things? Well, so I put some dots in it, and I put some marks in it, and I think I still may put some more marks. I've got this yellow. I'm not quite sure what I want to do with the yellow, but I just felt like there needed to be a little bit of something in here in smaller dotty colors. So I'm just putting some dots through areas that already have other things, and even over other things, because, you know, we don't have to, we want to connect different places in the painting. So if I want to come here and collect some yellow dots all through here and connect it up through here, that works. It's just another pathway through. And if I want to take a little yellow and go somewhere else, I think I like the yellow there. I want to bring it all the way down here somehow. So I may actually come all the way down here, and then I'm going to bring it up through here, and we're going to just bring, there's a whole row of yellows. Don't know why, but I like it. So that's helped me, and I might even take a little bit of the yellow around a few of my, on top of a few of my my islands here, or whatever they are. I like the sketchiness of just throwing a little yellow on top of that. And let's put some in the middle of this door. That's kind of fun. And this up here, I don't know what it is, so I'm just going to throw a little more yellow around that, play with that, and even play a little bit with this. I'm just adding bits and pieces to this painting, and there's nothing like written in stone. I have not decided anything super must be anything. I'm just enjoying my sketchiness that I can do, enjoying connecting things, and enjoying just kind of letting more stuff happen. I've used my black pen a lot, but do I also want, because I want a few more darks in places, and that's fine. I'm just adding some darks. Why not? Dots and dashes, dashes and dots. And I like the darks there. Don't know what's happening in here, but let's put another square in there. Why not? Where I can put the little squares, I will. And don't know what's happening here, so I'm just going to let it go. In my mind, it was a palm tree, but then it's got these things coming off of it, so I don't know what it is. And I think I want some more texture of some kind in these. And I don't know maybe it's just throwing in some texture. I love when these things the crayons make kind of texture. Making more marks, more marks, more marks, more marks. Because I did all of that wonderful underlayment, I actually, like if I want to take this white one here and just kind of go just a little bit on the surface, can you see how I'm going to pick up some of these lines that are underneath? And sometimes I like to do that. This is, in my mind, there's some water down here somehow. And this will increase the look of water. And I'm not quite sure what's in the water, whether they're islands or these are sailboats or what, but they are there. And that's just a little more texture. Not so much in the sky would I want to do that. I really like it right there. And I've got some more texture that I can see in this one here, but I'm not sure if I'm wanting to, I'm not liking that. So I'm kind of letting that be. And what else do I need to do? I could also use other kind of markers. As I said, I frequently will use my white marker here. And that I start getting fairly loose with, where I'm just going to kind of come around here and just say, okay, so now I have that there, and I'll have the same kind of thing down here, because I like that. And, and I can make it even sketchier if I want. And, I can double sketch things. I can just put a little bit of extra whatever I want here. Why not? I'm adding some lights. I'm adding some feeling. I don't know what I'm adding. Kind of like that. And then here, let me just play with this little shape and see what I've got here to just add a little into my shapes. I like the idea of tulips there. I like my fence posts here, just having just another, are they fence posts? What are they? They're dancing kind of this way. I've got a lot of them dancing this way. I like that sketchiness. I still maybe want to just actually add a little more drama to what in my mind is probably there's some palm tree posts here, I guess is the best I can say. I don't know. I like the squiggles. I'm going to go the squiggle all the way to the top there. I think I'm going to put a white little section there. I'm looking for more places to play, and just kind of come up here with more fun. And as as I say, it's not about taking yourself totally seriously. Got some circles here. Well, what are they? I don't know. I've got some dots here. Let me just bring some dots all the way out to the edge here, and maybe even bring them all the way over to this here. And so now I've got some dots going kind of crosswise. And what do I have here? Do I want to do a little bit of circly here? I'm liking that, I'm liking that, I'm liking that. Now I need just a little more highlights. Let's see what happens if I go to the middle of that. I don't know what that is. It's just really fun texture. And I don't want to mess up too much of my fun texture there. Let's do some scratchy there. Let's do some scratchy here. This is very scratchy. It's not anything but a little just like, ooh, why don't I just have fun with all of this? And fun. A little more energy in all of this. I still need some, something. I don't know what this is here, but I'm going to put little dots in it. Didn't like it as black, but maybe it's a little bug. It's a dragonfly. Don't know what it is. Do I see anything else that I need to collect and impress with myself here? Do I see anything that is imperative to kind of show off? I'm liking that being subtle up there. I'm liking it being subtle up here. I really don't want any more dots down there. I like the scavengey stuff up here. I think it might be done, except for maybe I'm going to put a second. I'm going to just kind of fill in a little bit in here with some dots. So it's not all just kind of dot. I want to put some more dots in here. I don't know, there's lights there, lights behind the flower there. Afraid if I put dots on top of my fence post there, they're going to start looking like candles. Don't really want them to look like candles. I like the sloppiness of that. I'm getting to the point that I think I'm done. So I'll sign it. So there's lots of marks in there. There's lots of fun in there. There's lots of chaos in there. There's lots of paths through there. You can get the paths of color. There's a blue path here. There's another path that kind of keeps you going all up into the oranges and the corals and some of the other colors. And there is lights, there's darks, there's just stuff. But I think at this point I'm going to call my painting done. You can see there's all sorts of textures, all sorts of places overlaying other places, and all sorts of adventures in there. There's doors and there's portals and there's portholes and there's windows and there's arches and there's path stones and there's water and there's just lots of things in there. So I'm calling it done.